Hey there, thanks for stopping by and checking out the channel. Today we are going to keep working on our Heart of Ghur terrain for Warcry from Games Workshop. So I base coated all of these scenery bits. Very simple. We did some stippling on the bark of the tree, some contrast paint on the tips, aggro dunes contrast paint on all of the bamboo, and pretty typical three-step color on the bone bits. And now, today, we are going to start working with some oil washes. Because these are so large, and I have so many of them, I think we're going to kind of break this into two steps. So first, I'm going to be using this sap green from Winsor Newton, and I'm going to coat all of the bamboo with this. If you've ever seen pictures of like raw natural bamboo, there's lots of green tones as well as brown. So having some green kind of in the recesses, I think that'll look really cool, and it'll also help with the vines that are on here so that I don't have to pick all of those out individually. They'll just be green from the wash. So we'll hit all the bamboo, kind of let that dry as we're kind of going through, and then that will allow me to hold the bamboo so I can then oil wash everything else. They're just really big and they don't have a base for me to hold, so we're gonna have to kind of working with the oil paints. They can get messy, so I've got gloves, got some paper towel protecting my hobby desk, which is also my computer desk. And then under that, you can't really see down here in the corner, we've got parchment paper underneath that. So, alright, let's glove up. And I have already mixed my washes that we're going to be using. So we've got our jar of sap green already mixed up. Just give that a shake. And I'm just checking to make sure there's no huge clumps of pigment. And we'll decant a little bit of thinner. Now for this, I'm going to be using this gigantic size 8 brush. Honestly, if I had an even bigger brush, I'd use that. But I don't. This was actually the largest that I've got on hand, so that's what we're using. We just want to be able to cover as much of this as possible as quickly as we can. And this is just going to be dead simple. We're literally just slathering this completely all over the place. Now, we don't care if this gets over more of the than just the bamboo. We will be using this on the tree later. And green, honestly, when you're dealing with any sort of natural terrain piece, green is in nature like everywhere. So if a little green gets on something, we're okay with that. Now this is nice and thin. I did not use any varnish. Because even though this is a wash, I do kind of want some of that surface staining to happen. So there's no varnish on top of my acrylics. We're just applying this straight onto paint. I did, however, give a couple of days for the acrylic layers to fully cure. Given the amount of thinner that they're going to be exposed to, just better safe than sorry. And already I can see that I am loving this effect. Because it's a thin wash consistency, it's not quite enough to overpower that brown. But it's going to be very noticeable on the natural ridges of the wood. And it's going to look fantastic. Now, had I not been trying to film this, I probably would have just airbrushed this layer, but doing it by brush is totally fine. Did not want to work with oil paints, and you wanted a similar effect by using just acrylic products, you could probably take some Colia Green Shade by Citadel and thin it with contrast medium. And then you would get a similar effect, but you're not going to have the same amount of control in removing the excess that the oil paint will provide you. Because it'll probably take me, God, if I'm lucky, probably an hour to slather this on all of the terrain pieces we're going to be working on. And because oil paints have such a long working time, I could still come back in and reactivate that paint and remove the excess. Whereas an acrylic, you only have a matter of seconds to handle it, unless you're using drying retarders. And even then, the results can be kind of iffy. One more piece of bamboo kind of inside. It'll be hard for the camera to pick it up, but I'll just coat that real quick.